What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. It is me, Vanglorious, and today we're going to be doing something that's a little faded in here, and it is going to be this dash section. So I had done this before and it got faded, so I do have more material, so I can actually get this done again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two pieces off here and I'll bring them upstairs and I'll show you how it's done. This way, if you ever want to do this to yours, if yours gets faded after you've done it, or if you just want to try something new to match your interior, why not do this? So take a look at this now. From what you can see, it's pretty faded here, and I actually developed some air bubbles in here. Let's see if we can capture that. Yeah, so you can see there's like air bubbles here, so not the best right now. This all came out pretty good. So all of this section came out pretty nice, but the air bubbles in here kind of killed it for me. And you can see in color, when we get back inside, I'll show you what the fabric looks like, and I'll give you details on where to order it from or what to look for exactly. So take notes. This is what we're dealing with now. By the finished product, I'm pretty sure you'll be impressed too. So let's get this taken off. Now that you see how to get these off, then we're gonna go inside. Let's take a look at the fabric and I'll show you how to get started. Alright, so we're finally back inside. Okay, you're gonna need a couple things before you start this venture. So first and foremost, you're gonna need an adhesive. So you're gonna need something that is gonna be able to bond the material to the plastic. And you'll see that if this is your first time doing this, you're gonna need to clean that off. So you will also need some alcohol, so you can get any of the dust and particulates off and make sure it's nice and dry. But yeah, definitely look for some type of multi-purpose adhesive. I just brought this one the last time I got it. I know 3M makes one. This one's by Scotch, so this is exactly what it looks like. And if you have any questions about where to get this stuff, you can leave it in the comments and I could direct you towards that. But any Home Depot, Lowe's, hardware store should have it. I think you should use gloves. So mainly because you're going to be dealing with adhesive, you want to make sure this stuff doesn't get on your hands, otherwise you'll be spending some extra time cleaning your hands. And how this is going to work is that, I don't know if you could see this, but any of the leftover that you're going to have, you're probably going to end up touching it. So at least if it's not on your hands, you know, better on the gloves. And you'll see there's little pieces that I have here for the flaps I didn't particularly care to keep down like this, because you're gonna see that you have to fold this over, so you will be using your hands a lot, so best to use gloves. So gloves, you want a microfiber towel so you can actually dry it off after you use the alcohol, and that's about it. I left this step out, but if you are having difficulty getting off these trim pieces, and this is assuming that you haven't already done this, you could use a plastic pry tool. This should be able to get it off because of how it's shaped here. So definitely want to look for something like that if you do not feel confident taking it off yourself with just your bare hands. So we are going to get into what the material looks like. Now this is kind of long for the shot, but I ordered mine, I believe it was AliExpress or Alibaba, one of them, one of the Alis. So this is actually just suede. Now the color is kind of close. You're gonna see, I have this on backwards, but essentially this is the other side of it. So this is more along the lines of a red, and it's a close second to orange. So I got something that was kind of going to match with the exterior of the car. It doesn't necessarily 100% match with the red that's on the stitching on the seats, but this looks pretty unique. You know, this looks more of like a hot lava, like the color my car is. So I decided to go with this. So I'll get closer so you can see a little bit of it, but that's pretty nice. So I enjoyed that. I used a good deal of this, so I don't have that much left, but I have enough to get the job done. So I'm gonna show you how to rig it up so you'll know what to cut. But first, let's get these old faded pieces off of this so we can start fresh and then stencil it out, and then we'll get going. Now that we have the faded pieces off, let's take some alcohol. I'm gonna use a cotton swab and I'm gonna kind of pat them down. Now, again, if you've done this already, this is gonna be rough, but you just wanna make sure you wanna lift any of the other piece or any of the other coloring off of it as best as you can. This way, when you lay the new adhesion on, then it'll go on nice and smooth. Being that it's a little rough, it's not really going to be that detrimental, so I'm not looking to get it down back to how it was from factory, but you know, from factory you just want to make sure it's clean. I'm just taking this extra step to make sure that there aren't any other pieces that are kind of left here, like kind of like this, where you can see there's little chunks of piece. So I just mainly want to get that off. This way, when I lay over the new one, it'll bond evenly. So hungry, but a real good JDM snack, check these out. These, it's like, what is it, what is that, oh, what is that tree, they're like Cracker Jacks, but just in cheese doodle form, so the foam. Find this on Amazon, because you probably can't find them in your local Asian supermarket or Japanese store. These, they're the truth, right? So, to trace it out, obviously you want something where you could make a line around the perimeter of the pieces, and then you want to cut. So, that's what we're gonna do right now. I chose to do it like this because if you have it outlined a little bit, as you can see, you're gonna need some excess for it to fold around, and you kind of want to get this to where it's on this, but you have some room to pull over, and then it'll mate to it. That's why you want to stencil it out first, and then see what amount of excess you're gonna need to pull over. So it makes a world of a difference when you have just a little bit more, so you can stretch and make sure that there's no air pockets that get in there. I can't tell you why I got air pockets last time, because I could have swore that I stretched this out and didn't have too much excess to where there was going to be a way for air to get in there, but that may have been because I didn't spray my adhesive the way I wanted it to. So this time it should warrant a good product. So yeah, so that's one down. So we're gonna do the same thing. See ya. So I have my lines right here. Being that this is the screen portion, we're gonna need to cut out in here, but we just want just a little bit more to go over, because as you can see, voila, there's some width to this. So you want to make sure you have enough to cover it, but you don't want too much, like I was saying. All right, so we're gonna spray the adhesive down so we can start getting this bonded together, and then we'll start making our cuts. And for the inside, I'll show you a neat trick. So, being that we have a screen that we need to come through, this is how we're gonna make that happen. Pieces like this, if you want to make sure they bond correctly, you need to cut them on the inside, but just to the place. You don't necessarily want to cut out a whole block of place for that. So an Xacto cutter will get in there how you want it and kind of etch out your spots that you don't need, and boom, like, it really makes it a lot easier. So I would definitely recommend having that. So have an Xacto cutter, because yo, you could just breeze through this. The screen's gonna fill all of this up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the middle and then just create an opening. And then we'll reduce the amount of slack that we have coming out this way, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so what I want to really get the point across on this is that, yes, we're cutting the inside, but keep in mind the screen's going to be in it. So all of this you're not going to see. But for the sake of the video, I will show you us kind of removing the excess. Alright, so see? Bam. That's what that looks like. And you'll see once we put it on the car, you won't see any of these unbeveled edges. So it's going to be amazing. And my top piece right here, in some spots you may need to knead it a little bit more just to make sure it's stretched. But as you can see, there's no air bubbles. No air bubbles on this bad boy. So the old stuff look like this. See what I mean? Like 10 times better. Alright, so now that we got the hard piece out of the way, I'm going to get to the easiest piece. But there's a little catch with this. Even though it is the easier piece to do, does not mean that there's not going to be some type of struggle in here, because this is the hardest part to get bonded. So you guys are gonna find that there'll probably be little sections here and there that I cut to, and I'll show you how that's done. So as you can see, I know I skipped a few, but now we're gonna work on working our edges in a little bit tighter. This way we can get a nice finish. But like I said, Xacto cutter, gotta have patience and time with this. You want to trim out all the excess to the point where you can get a nice lay and where no air can get in. This way it'll be buttery smooth. just feels great. I feel like this time this one's gonna bond so much better because I'm using an Xacto Cutter. So we'll tighten up these edges, we'll head back to the car, and then we'll talk about some of the intricacies that I didn't really show. This way you guys will know how to do it when you do it. Boom, here we go. So, nice and tucked. Looking pretty good. No air bubbles, looks very uniform. This is gonna look great in the car compared to the clapped out one that we had in there before. All right, so let's talk. These two pieces, primarily, this one's gonna give you a little bit less trouble, but you gotta know how to have some time and patience, like I said. So you need time and patience. What you wanna focus on is just making sure that your areas are tightly laid down. Now, what I mean tightly, meaning that as you're doing this, you kind of want to stretch it a little bit with the adhesive. The thing with the adhesive is that small and steady sprays work better. Very short blast of adhesive. You don't want it to clump up, otherwise it's going to come through the fabric. That's number one. Number two would be, when you're getting to the back, use the Xacto Cutter to start trimming at the edge. This way, if you need a little bit more pull and you need to put some glue and adhesive in some areas, you can do that. That's why you don't want to trim too much off, but you want to leave just enough. Because obviously you have these that you have to get around. Doesn't matter that these are loose here because no air is really going to get in because this is going to be tight against your dashboard. And then the second thing is, well, the third thing is, I would say, is that have patience. You're going to be peeling and then peeling back often. It's going to happen. The good thing about this adhesive is that it's not as if you spray it on and then take it off, that it's just going to totally nullify what you did. It will let you put it back and then you just have to smooth it over. Whether you want to use something like this, or if you trust that your finger is clean or your hand is clean, you could use your hand. Honestly, it's not going to kill you if you use your hand. You can see that I took the gloves off because I'm used to working on things without gloves. So I know that if there's a little bit of film on my hands, that I need to dry my hands off a little bit before I go and touch this. Otherwise, your hands will start sticking to the fabric. So for the intricacies, I would say this area, you need to be very jubilant on how you pinch this. You want to pinch it in the right way while keeping this tight. On the car, you're not going to see this bottom portion, but you will see this. So the idea is that when it's on the car, you're not going to see this. It's just going to sit nice in there. And the idea is pinch this a little bit and voila. So like I said, you can still knead this. Knead it down a little bit more and then you're good to go. It's not going to be 100% perfect. This is not a factory job. I am not a piece of machine. So just know that with crafts, it's going to be like that. But you know, this looks amazing to me. I'm happy with this again because I remember what it looked like when I put it on and I swore it was like the best thing since sliced bread. So honestly, if you want to do this and you have the time, go for it because I think it's worth it. I mean, fabric doesn't cost that much. The supplies don't cost that much. So literally, this is an easy job. It's just nice if you want something to do and you want to switch it up because everyone's 8.6 for the most part looks the same. You could be one of those people, which I was going to suggest too, is that if you don't want to go through this, you can just buy the other piece. But I think this is fine the way it is. You know, this is something nice to do. Yeah, it involves a little bit of cleanup and, you know, if it's your first time doing something like this, it's probably going to get all over the place. But I mean, once you've done it once, it's not going to be much of an issue. So yeah, that's about it with this. So we're going to head back to the car and put this on and then I'll show you the finished product. This is the final product. Looking absolutely amazing. No longer clapped out. You love to see it. So as you can see, the seams are right here around the edges. like I was telling you before, you don't gotta go crazy because you're not gonna be able to see them. And you can see, obviously here, I cut a little bit too deep on this one, but I mean, it's not gonna bother me. It's not the end of the world. This one kind of too, but like I said, not the end of the world because who's gonna be looking at that? And then you have the bottom here. Basically, you have to do your best to try and tuck these in. Outside of that, I mean, that's that. So I'm super happy that I did this because I got tired of looking at a clapped out centerpiece to my dashboard. So very awesome. And hopefully it didn't pose as much of a threat as it looked like it did on video. It's just mainly time consuming. Like I said, it just takes time doing these things. So if you have the time and you have the materials to get the job done, just take care of it. It's pretty cool, and it's a nice way to get into DIY stuff. I like doing little crafts here and there, especially when it comes to cars. It's a lot of fun. So I definitely would recommend that, you know, you take some time out and get this done. You can see here too how it kind of matches all together. This is what I was speaking about earlier when we were on the inside. Yes, the stitching is more along the lines of red, and this is red obviously, but you know, when you look at this, it's very close. It's hard to get them in the same shot, but I mean, it's pretty close. So I'm actually gonna get something to eat because I'm starving, but I wanted to finish out this video and show you guys what it means to actually DIY, and something simple like this could take a little bit of time, but it could come out nice. So hopefully you liked the video. Like, comment, subscribe if you did. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.